Weirdly enough, I am going to start out a video by praising John McCain. Now, you may not remember this, but back during the '08 election, there was a town hall that John McCain was doing where a Caucasian lady got up and was like, "Oh, I just don't trust that Obama. He's a Muslim." And ooh, I'm telling you, the N word was on the tip of her tongue. But John McCain pulled it back and he's like, look, he's a lot of things, but I know him personally. He's a good Christian dude, and we gotta have respect for each other throughout this process. And you know what? Props to John McCain for doing that, because in the time since Trump has won and you got all these people running around here with Trump derangement syndrome, neither of the Obamas have stopped and said, look, regardless of how you feel about Trump, his supporters are still your countrymen. You know, they're still your neighbors. They're still Americans too, and you gotta have respect. I'm telling you, if either one of them said something along those lines, the TDS would subside like by 30-35%, because yeah, they do have that kind of pull. But no, it's all about the division. It's all about being diversive. So this is coming to us from Huffington Post, Black Voices. Michelle Obama calls out white flight. You're still running. That's what divides countries, the former First Lady said at the Obama Foundation Summit. It's for real. Just really going hard at those Caucasians, huh? Written by Ron Dicker. Now, I've done videos before where the phenomenon known as white flight is completely justified when you look at many of the communities and how they've been destroyed, many of these urban spaces and how they've been destroyed. I mean, it's not just white flight. Like, anybody that wants a better quality of life, it's quality of life flight, you know. But let's get into this. Former First Lady Michelle Obama on Tuesday reprimanded white families for fleeing urban areas of Chicago during her youth and now. "We were doing everything we were supposed to do and better," Obama said at the Obama Foundation Summit in Chicago, as seen in the clip above. I'm not watching it. "I want to remind white folks that y'all were running from us. This family with all the values that you read about, you were running from us, and you're still running." And it's so blanketed. And like, why would you stick around someplace where, you know, there's crime and violence? Like, that's ridiculous. It really is. And what's even more ridiculous, and I'm not about to look it up right here, but yeah, you live in a gated community now, Michelle. I mean, in Chicago and your spot in DC, they're very, very beautiful. You know, they're architectural feats, but they are nowhere near the hood. So stop it. Addressing a crowd at the Illinois Institute of Technology, Obama linked her comments to the attitude currently directed at neighbors arriving from abroad. What? What kind of conflation is this? "We're no different than the immigrant families that are moving in," she said. "Families that are coming from other places to try and do better." This is so much conflation right now. This is so much conflation, because we can so easily wash over who we really were because of the color of our skin, the texture of our hair. That's what divides countries, she added. Obama wrote about the white flight she and her family faced in Chicago's South Side in her best-selling autobiography, Becoming. Oh, so pretentious. She returned to those times on Tuesday. "There were no gang fights. There were no territorial battles," Obama said, per the Chicago Sun-Times. "Yet one by one, they packed their bags and they ran from us, and they left communities in shambles to become overrun with gang fights and territorial battles." Congratulations, I guess. Because they saw it coming. Like, they knew, oh man, we passing this type of legislation. Let's go and get on out to Aurora or someplace like that. Oh my goodness. And plus, like, let's speak of the time frame of which we're probably speaking of, which is like the 60s, 50s, 70s, right before these policies were really enacted and put in place. She appeared at the summit with former President Barack Obama and her brother, New York Knicks executive Craig Robinson, to mark the occasion, which also detailed plans for the Obama Presidential Center. The former First Lady also posted a throwback photo with her brother on Instagram. So what do you think? Like 70s, 60s? I'm thinking 70s, 60s. Maybe early, maybe late 70s. So yeah, okay, all right. So that's about it. That's a adorable photo and all. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. You ran too. These places were poison. These places were our prison farms. They are not built for families. They are not like families. You're not supposed to have a sustainable family in these spaces. These spaces are made, are constructed and cultivated. So the children of these spaces ultimately wind up in prison via the just the drug war or child support or any of the other traps that have been placed right there in front of them, because there are a million. And to chastise white people for leaving when you yourself don't live in these, I mean, by all means, going to like, if you and Barack moved into the Chicago, to some moved into some projects in Chicago, I mean, like, seriously, that in and of itself would just create a whole different atmosphere in Chicago. But nope, no, we got to get behind these gates, bro, because it's too real out here. And that's understood. Don't get it twisted. It's completely understood how and why, you live in the gated communities, but you don't chastise people for doing the same. And once again, to wrap this whole video back around to what I started with, I mean, the division that you're speaking of, what's divided the country is the fact that you refuse to speak up and say, hey, we got to treat each other better. You got to treat a Trump supporter with respect, because that's the only way we can have the conversations. That's the only way, we can understand each other. But no, the blanket, Trump is just terrible and everybody who likes him is terrible narrative is the one that the Democratic Party, and everybody's just been rocking with for the longest. And of the few people to have the power to really change that dynamic, I mean, you're one of them. You and your husband are the two of the main people that could, like, I'm telling you, like 35% of people with that Trump derangement syndrome would just snap away if they were like, look, man, stop. Like, you can't treat a Trump supporter this way. But no, in many cases, you guys encourage it because there's this assumption of racism and all the other terms that were attached to the man after during the 2016 election, that so many people have yet to let go. So I don't know, man. I saw this article a couple of days back, and I wanted to really talk about it because this is ridiculous that she's sitting here calling out white flight when she flew herself, and she is one of the and she wants to talk about dividing the country when she herself has the power, is one of the few people with the type of power to be able to, start to get back to a sense of normalcy and just accept, yeah, you're lost. It happens. Golly, only thing, I mean, sore winner, sore loser. Is there any difference? Butthurt is butthurt. So with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you liked it, toss a like. Dislike, yeah, go ahead and do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and you want to get videos like this every single day. Share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube and BitChute and like are the biggest fans of me, but it's okay. I ain't worrying about them. I got you. And speak. Let me know, what do you think in the comments? Like, if I'm wrong. If I'm coming at this from a wrong place, my comment sections are always open, guys. So until the next one.